Last week we shared some ideas around the writings and ideas of Duane Elgin, who wrote a beautiful, beautiful treatise on the wisdom of being a low-impact being in terms of the universe that we're part of, learning to be in this dance without being an impediment to its ongoing capacity to continue to support us. He wrote a book called Voluntary Simplicity, and I suggested last week that I would continue sharing some ideas as we kind of ran out of time. Well, that's not true. We didn't run out of time. What we ran out of was time that we could dedicate to this particular topic without starving everybody to death. We wanted to go to lunch. Anyway, back to voluntary simplicity and what he calls soulful living, S-O-U-L-F-U-L, soulful living. Writing in 1845, Henry Thoreau set the soulful tone for the simple life in Walden, in which he wrote these. How many have read Walden? Oh, a good portion of you, great. Yeah, I read it and fell in love with it. And my mom had a lot of trouble convincing me that this wasn't the time that I could go off by myself, pitch a tent, and sit by the lake for the next 2 years. I was about 11 at the time. I thought it was a hell of an idea, though. Thoreau writes, "I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to confront all of the essential facts of life and see if I could learn what it had to teach. And not, when I came to die, to discover that I had not lived. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life." Ooh, can you get a feel for that? Suck the marrow out of the bones of life. The Hindu poet Tagore wrote, "I have spent my days stringing and unstringing my instrument, while the song I came to sing remains unsung." What a lovely metaphor. I have spent my days stringing and unstringing my instrument, while the song I came to sing remains unsung. Distracted by the stringing and the unstringing, getting it just right, getting it perfect. And those choosing a life of simplicity are not leaving the song of their soul unsung. Instead, they are living deep, diving into life with engagement and enthusiasm. And in living that way, they are no doubt experiencing what Thoreau discovered, that it is life near the bone where it is sweetest. To live simply is to approach life in each moment as inherently worthy of our attention and respect, consciously attending to the small details of life. In attending to these details, we nurture the soul. And we so often just rush through it, and there's miracles going on all around us. I've been having a love affair recently with bugs, especially the little teeny tiny. Do you have these in your house from time to time? If you leave a piece of fruit, like a banana, they love bananas. If you leave it out overnight, and it gets that nice little darkness to it, and clouds of these incredibly small little gnats will be all over it. And when you show up in the morning, and what I do is I just carve the end of the banana off, and you pick that banana up, and it's like a cloud lifts from it. Really, you've seen that? And I just sit in amazement and watch these incredibly small, minute little pieces of animated principle. They have wings, you know. And they got a little brain and a circulatory system. Yeah. And they got a digestive system. They must. They're eating bananas. And if you leave them there long enough, the banana will go away, I assure you. And they're that just almost tough to see. And there's thousands of them. And I don't know, recently that has become kind of miraculous in my mind. And what I'm recognizing is that the same principle of life, the same animating energy that empowers that little creature to fly and to eat and do all that stuff, is identical to the energy in me that gives me the power to participate in the game of life, to eat and to digest. But I must confess I can't fly like you can. No. The animating principle. And since I've been doing this little thing, I begin to notice a lot more about my life. I notice, for example, when my foot is about to come down on an ant who's like he's traversing across the sidewalk or something, and once in a while I'll not notice one and say, well, and so I'm developing a little relationship with a larger expression of God's life and an appreciation for it. Yeah, living life deeply, sucking all the marrow out of life, not worrying too much about stringing my instrument, but playing the song and being there for all the lovely melodies of it. And living that way, we do discover that to live life near the bone is where it's sweetest. And we nurture the soul when we pay attention to that. Thomas Moore explains in a book called Care of the Soul, care of the soul requires craft, skill, attention, and art. To live with a high degree of artfulness means to attend to the small things that keep the soul engaged. To the soul, the most minute details and the most ordinary activities carried out with mindfulness and art have an effect far beyond their apparent insignificance. I can't tell you how filled up I get with just the miracle of existence when I got this little relationship going on between me and a bug flying above a banana, aware of my presence, because if I move my hand toward them, they fly away. Try it sometime. This is the church that bugs love. They really do. For many, the American dream has become the soul's nightmare. Often the price of affluence is inner alienation and emptiness. Not surprisingly, polls show that a growing number of Americans are seeking the lives of greater simplicity as a way to rediscover the life of the soul. Simplicity. Although the mass media may focus on the external trappings of a simple life, if we look below the surface, we find a powerful new form of personal spirituality motivating the vast majority of these life-way innovators. For many, their spirituality is an individualized form of faith that minimizes rules and absolutes. And here's little resemblance to the pure form of any of the world's religions. Their experience with the soulful dimensions of life and relationships is so rich and meaningful that a consumeristic lifestyle appears pale by comparison. Ah, wow. When you're getting there, you're getting close. I have had a quarter century of experience in that domain. I've been talking about it and living a life of essential simplicity. But I'm just recently discovering how much deeper I can go. Based on that, there are other priorities beyond material frugality that I have found characterize this way of living. Consider sacred relationships. Those choosing the simple life tend to place a high priority on the quality and integrity of their relationships with every aspect of life, with themselves, with other people, other creatures, the earth, as well as the universe. They all come into play after a while. Giving one's true gifts. This is a way of living that supports discovering and expressing the true gifts that are unique to each of us, as opposed to waiting until we die to discover that we've not authentically lived out our true potential. It can only be described as a real bummer. Living with balance. The simple life is not narrowly focused on living with less. Instead, it is a continuously changing process of consciously balancing the inner and outer aspects of our lives, an immensely demanding process in our busy, complex, and confusing world. And I think you can probably say amen to that. It's a tough one to embrace. In life as a meditation, living simply enables us to approach life as a meditation. By consciously organizing our lives to minimize distractions and needless busyness, we can pay attention to life's small details and deepen our soulful relationship with life. All of the world's spiritual traditions have advocated an inner-directed way of life that does not place undue emphasis on material things. The Bible speaks frequently about the need to find a balance between the material and the spiritual sides of life, such as in this passage. Give me neither poverty nor wealth. That comes from Proverbs, 30th chapter. Give me neither poverty nor wealth. Or from China in the Taoist tradition, Lao Tzu observed that he who knows he has enough is rich. What a simple way. How to be rich. Know you got enough. Wouldn't that be a disappointment to the vast majority of people flocking out to buy the new bestseller, How to Be Rich? And you open the book and there's 200 pages that are all blank, and right in the middle there's this one page that's got a little thing, knowing you've got enough. Do you need any more? Is that true? That's the ultimate truth. Just simply knowing you have enough. Who knows? He's rich. In Buddhism, there's a conscious emphasis on discovering a middle way through life that seeks balance and material sufficiency. The soulful value of the simple life has been recognized for thousands of years. It is said that Buddha, soon after his experience with the Bodhi tree, was sitting on a hillside watching some musical students play their instruments, and one was having a little difficulty getting his instrument tuned, and he asked the instructor, well, how exactly do you tune it? He said, well, not too high and not too low. And that's it. The balance. A lovely sense of balance. And there we have the song and the dance. The soulful value of the simple life has been recognized for thousands of years. What is new is that world circumstances are changing in such a way that this way of life now has unprecedented relevance for our times. Can you say hello to that? Yeah. So I would invite you to plug into some of Dwayne Elgin's work. He's all over the net. You can get a fast education there. And then that said, with absolute faith, that the passage of time since our last connection has been a gentle occasion for each of you with relative tranquility, a few honest chuckles, and a song or two sung in joyful remembrances that you are well loved, deeply appreciated in this incredibly rich adventure we call unity. Thank you for being part of it, for making my life whole and complete, and for moving me in that direction. It's been a hoot, and shall continue for a while. Love you guys.